Ukrainian troops continue offensive actions in the Bakhmut sector. This was reported by the head of the press service of the Eastern Group of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Ilya Yevlash. Russia continues to try to regain its lost position near Klishchiyivka and Andriyivka. However, Ukrainian defenders managed to repel these attacks. They gain ground and continue their offensive on the southern flank. The occupiers are pulling artillery away from the contact line to the outer reaches and firing at the positions of Ukrainian defenders from there. In this way, the Russians are trying to protect their installations. The distance from Klishchiyivka to Bakhmut is 7 kilometers. The exposure of this flank gives the Ukrainian armed forces the opportunity to conduct more artillery strikes on the concentration of Russian personnel, their command posts and equipment. The withdrawal near Andriyivka and Klishchiyivka gives Ukrainians the opportunity to get closer to the Bakhmut-Halyuka highway, which is already under our fire control. Mortars and anti-tank units are already reaching there. Therefore, the enemy supply in this area has already become much more difficult and will continue to become more difficult. Zaporizhzhya front. After the breakthrough of the occupants' defense line near Verbove, Ukrainian troops may advance to Ocherevatove. Oleksandr Musienko, head of the Center for Military Legal Studies, explained that after liberating Robotyne village, Ukrainian forces continue to advance in 2 directions, to the west, near Novoprokopivka, where fighting continues, and to the southeast, to Verbove village. It was a search for a weak spot in the enemy's defense and, according to the expert, it was found. The Ukrainian armed forces offensive near Robotyne and Zaporizhzhya region continues. The fighting has now moved to the outskirts of Novoprokopivka. Colonel Oleksandr Stupan, spokesman for the Joint Press Center of the Tarai Defense Forces, said that there is progress, but it is difficult due to the enemy's intense defense. The Ukrainian armed forces are advancing from forest plantation to forest plantation. Sometimes they advance 50 to 100 meters a day, sometimes 300 to 400 meters, but Ukrainian troops are moving forward. It is hard. The enemy does not give up easily, although they suffer heavy losses, especially in equipment. In the southern sector, artillerymen of the 406th Separate Artillery Brigade named after Lieutenant General Alexei Almazov of the Ukrainian Naval Infantry Command discovered and destroyed a camouflaged enemy 152mm cannon, 2A-36 Hyacinth B. Simultaneous counteroffensive actions of the Ukrainian military in the area of Bakhmut and in the south of the country do not allow the Russian invaders to form additional forces, as the occupiers are forced to redistribute their new reserves to try to restrain the advance of the Ukrainian armed forces. Such conclusions were reached by analysts of the Institute for War Studies. Kirilo Budanov, head of the main intelligence directorate, said that during the fighting at the front, both sides hardly use armored vehicles due to the saturation of the territories with mines and high density of artillery fire. Currently, this equipment is used only for evacuation or for rapid transportation of infantry teams to a certain place, but it does not take part in combat operations. Armored systems are not enough to create a gap in the enemy's lines, to create a powerful breakthrough, as in classical doctrine, but it is enough to deter any attempt by the enemy of any side to make a breakthrough using technology. Most Russian command posts and logistics depots are beyond a range of 85 kilometers, which is about 50 miles, which is the maximum range for Ukraine's implicit current ammunition of guided multiple launch rocket systems. The Russians are simply placing command posts and other facilities beyond those distances so that Ukraine has nothing to reach them with. The weather could be a serious obstacle during the advance, but given the way the Ukrainians are moving forward, mostly without vehicles, the weather will not have a major impact on the counteroffensive. Meanwhile, a Ukrainian drone attacked an administrative building in Kursk. The footage posted online shows that the explosion was powerful. Afterwards, black smoke was seen in the city.